And now we have Senator Roy Blunt on the line. Good morning, Senator. How are you?
Hey, morning, John. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. So,
on the way to a meeting with General Petraeus to talk about what he saw when he was on the ground in Libya just a couple of weeks ago. And to get straight in my mind again, what the general told us, those people who are members of the Senate Intelligence Committee, and how that really begins to compare with what the White House was saying at the same time, and even 4 and 5 days later. And we saw some video yesterday of what happened at that facility. It wasn't really an embassy, and it wasn't even really quite a consulate yet, but it was clear there also wasn't any demonstration going on. It's people appearing and with weapons, and suddenly they're inside the wall and inside the facility, and it's on fire. So it was without any question a terrorist act, an act that wasn't a peaceful thing that turned into violence. It was violence, and anybody there, and there were plenty of people there to talk to, that had by the time by the next day were out of Libya, and there's some thought that, well, there were a lot of newspaper reports that there was a demonstration going on, and I don't know why we'd be reading newspaper reports when we could actually talk to the Americans that were there.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of questions to be asked here, and a lot of reasons to wonder why this story was so hard to get accurate and get quickly.
Yeah, it surprised me right off the bat that they would come to a demonstration with cans of diesel fuel.
Yeah. Well,
you just don't see them toting that around.
There wasn't a demonstration. We saw some video yesterday, and it was surveillance video, so it wasn't real-time video that was available in Washington, but it was the video from all of the various surveillance cameras that were watching different parts of that compound, finally put together on a time clock. And, people appear as a opportunity arises. The gate is left undefended for a few minutes, and people appear out of nowhere, not out of an organized demonstration with weapons, and suddenly they're in the wall, and not too long after that, the buildings are on fire, and it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a trained expert to know that this was not a Cairo-type demonstration that suddenly just got out of hand. It was clearly planned as a violent act, and it was a violent act.
Well, I hope that you can get some. I hope you can get some straight talk from the general and get some clarity as to where that goes.
Yeah, I do too, John.
Yeah.
I do too.
Speaking of buildings on fire, do you feel any intensity on the Senate side? We just talked to Billy about the House side. Are you feeling some pressure and intensity as far as this fiscal cliff?
Well, there's a reason that's called a cliff, and you shouldn't want to go off this cliff. And the president has been reelected. He has not led on this issue up till now, and he has an obligation to find an answer that will work. And there's a Republican House of Representatives. I'm still in the minority in the Senate, but there's a Republican House of Representatives that aren't going to let these tax rates go up in a way that hurts the economy. And the president surely can figure that out, and surely it won't be his goal to hurt the economy. And at the same time, there's if nothing happens, we go back to the 2000 tax rates, which everybody believes will create a recession. And the president and some Democrats in the Senate say, "Oh, we're willing for that to happen." That would be a huge mistake to let that happen, and the economy and American families would pay the price. And we can't let that happen.
And so, how do you think it'll all play out? Do you think it'll come from the House, or who do you think is going to stand up and really? Because it's obvious the president's not going to. Who do you think will stand up and ultimately take the lead in this?
Well, this is the kind of moment that should take presidential leadership, and it's a defining moment for the president. Whether the next term is going to be different than the first term, And, we all have to hope that it is different in the first term because we need the president to lead. The divided government is really a good time to solve complicated and hard issues because everybody has to take responsibility. There's no long-term political blame to be given. And the president needs to figure out how to take advantage of this opportunity and at the same time get focused on things that create jobs. And I heard you talking about energy earlier. The bird's nest on the ground in America today is this unbelievable resource of North American energy that we could use to grow and drive our economy if the president was just willing to embrace traditional energy for the next several decades as we truly develop whatever comes after gas and oil and coal. But that's going to be a long time, and we can either suffer through that long time or we can prosper through that long time by using more natural gas than anybody in the world has in the world, probably more oil now than anybody in the world, and definitely more coal than anybody in the world. And we, of course, should use those resources to our economic benefit to create jobs and opportunity. And every other country in the world looks at their natural resources, and the first thing they think of is economic advantage, not environmental hazard.
Well, and also the part I love about it is it gives us independence that we haven't felt in a long time. I mean,
right.
It gives us national, as far as from a national security point of view.
Right.
It really strengthens our position.
It does, John, and it also allows you, as you're making an economic decision about where to put a factory or whether to expand or not, the understanding that, I'm going to have the utility bill is going to be pretty reliable here for a long time, and we're going to have the fuel we need to get raw materials and deliver finished products. And so, at the bottom of all that is we're no longer hostages to people that don't like us very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we don't have to worry as much about what happens in the Strait of Hormuz, whether that is blocked or not. And frankly, if we're not an absolute dependent customer on oil coming through that Strait of Hormuz, probably much less likely to be blocked because nobody is as big a target of these extremist groups except for Israel as the United States of America is.
Speaking of Israel, have you gotten any input on this the events of the last couple of days over there?
Well, I have, and it's very concerning. Hamas has been shooting weapons out of the Gaza Strip into Israel, and the Israelis finally decided they had to retaliate, and in a significant way. And it's in a very dangerous part of the world. It's a very complicated moment, and we're watching it real closely.
Yeah, I assume so.
Okay.
Appreciate
John,
it.
Got to go.
Thank you,
okay,
Senator.
Buddy.
You have
Good
a great day.
You.
All right.
You bet. Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.